The fertilizer is sold across the nation for agricultural use. According to PEER, it sometimes contains toxic levels of PFAS.
These people were led to believe that this is safe, it's a cheap fertilizer, and it is, they've been victimized as much as anybody.
This episode of Here Lies the True podcast, we're going to talk about forever chemicals, right? So, this story right here, I'm going to bring the part 2 back, but, this is something that we need to talk about, like politicians that are running for office. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, left or right? These politicians need to be talking about this. Like, we're going to go back into it, but I'll be back, to give you more commentation.
It's a beautiful piece of land just outside of Grandview, Texas. Cattle roam the 300 acres. But rancher Tony Coleman says what was found on his land has turned it into a toxic wasteland.
We're nervous, we're scared.
Coleman says his land is contaminated and his livestock and fish are dying because of the fertilizer his neighbors use to fertilize his crops.
You had your whole livelihood taken from you.
This year alone, he's had 10 cows, 2 horses, and 5 ponds full of fish die.
When they say that this man lost 10 cows, 2 horses, and 5 ponds of fish, like, that's a lot of money. If and I know you're probably saying, well, I don't own land. I'm not. Why would this interest me, right? Why would I care about this? And the reason why that you should care about this is because this is being done nationwide, not just in Texas. It's like nationwide. You have different companies that will create this, and they'll sell these fertilizers, right, to local farmers or to local commercial farmers. I'm not going to say local farmers. It may be commercial farmers, right?
Starts happening, you start second guessing everything of what's going on, trying to figure out what's causing this. And that's when everything started happening.
You actually consume that.
Johnson County Constable Dana Ames started investigating the issue last year.
The whole valley was just surrounded with smoke and they couldn't breathe. And so I go out and I investigate and I see, these giant piles. They're just black.
Those piles are mounds of fertilizer made from biosolids, which are left over when sewage runs through a treatment plant. Biosolids contain high levels of chemicals called PFAS, also known as forever chemicals.
It's man-made chemicals, and it's in the sewage sludge. It's in the biosolids.
Detective Ames presented to county officials what she and experts think led to high levels of PFAS in Tony Coleman's ranch land.
The contamination that has occurred on our victims' properties is pervasive.
Ames worked with a group called PEER, Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility, and they looked at where the wastewater came from that made the biosolids, which took them to Fort Worth's wastewater treatment facility. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, all humans consume PFAS chemicals. They are used to make a lot of products, from shampoo, carpet, frying pans, and even makeup. All of that ends up in our human waste, which is then sent to a wastewater treatment facility. During the treatment, biosolids are created. Those biosolids, also called sewage sludge, can be used to make fertilizer, which is what a company called Synagro does. And Synagro has a contract with the city of Fort Worth to use their waste to make fertilizer. And a nearby rancher used the Synagro fertilizer on his land, which is next to Coleman's and 4 other property owners who are now suing Synagro for the contamination on their land.
It's scary, and I think our clients are hopeful that there will be some relief for them, but they are looking at having to abandon their farms and potentially euthanize all their animals, which is extremely emotional and hard to face.
Synagro says their biosolid fertilizer is environmentally safe. In a statement, they told us. Synagro strenuously denies the allegations in the lawsuit and says scientific studies have found that biosolids recycling presents little to no risk to human health and the environment. The fertilizer is sold across the nation for agricultural use. According to PEER, it sometimes contains toxic levels of PFAS.
These people were led to believe that this is safe, It's a cheap fertilizer, and it is, they've been victimized as much as anybody.
Both the EPA and the National Institute of Health say PFAS chemicals are carcinogenic and can kill animals, fish, and humans. Here is the peer scientist who tested the land out in Johnson County.
They cause cancer, particularly liver, kidney, and testicular cancer.
A state-approved lab found extremely high levels of PFAS in the tissue of the cows, fish, horses, and in the well water.
Well water, all the animal tissues tested 100% contaminated. We had 100% contamination on these properties.
County commissioners were shocked.
And I literally was just, I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to. My first thought was, this is Chernobyl.
That's what it felt like.
A nuclear meltdown.
TCEQ regulates biosolids. The Texas Feed and Fertilizer Control Service and the Office of the State Chemist have general authority on the use of fertilizer products. TCEQ told WFAA that biosolids that have met rigid requirements to prevent contamination from metals and significantly reduce pathogens may be approved for land application. The Texas Feed and Fertilizer Service at Texas A&M could not comment because of ongoing litigation.
This stuff should be banned all across America. I mean, what's our children going to do? You're ruining their land. You're ruining their water source. What are they going to do? It has to stop.
Synagro denies the biosolids in Johnson County are harmful. The biosolids applied by the farmer working with Synagro met all U.S. EPA and TCEQ requirements. The EPA is currently conducting a study on biosolids and possible contamination across the country and should have findings by December of 2024. It will determine what regulations, if any, will be imposed on companies that manufacture biosolids.
Once they're there for decades, if not hundreds of years. They will not go away. They will stay there and poison that land and that water forever.
So now we need to start asking ourselves, are we really concerned about, should our attention be focused on Meg Thee Stallion twerking at a Harris event? Or should we be concerned about what's in our food and the things that we consume on a daily basis that they're charging us 3 or 4 times more because this produce or this fruit is considered organic, but it may contain forever chemicals in it. It may contain PFAS in it. Like, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about that? Is that something that that should be on the ticket in this 2024 presidential election cycle? Yeah, so leave your comment below, like, share, and until the next time, I'm going to holler back at you.